Look! Oh, snap. Check out the countdown. Oh, snap. That means ropes is going down. Let's get it! October 2022 was all about making magic in wrestling, especially the wrestling convention scene. The ropes is all recap, jumping off about Binghamton Wrestling Con 2022. Joining the ropes in prime time, Team JD, Joe Davis, the man responsible for bringing Arn Anderson, Tommy Dreamer, and more to Johnson City, New York's big dance. Watch Joe Davis as he talks it up with your boy Ty Asbury about Binghamton Wrestling Con 2022. As always, when you got the ropes on a Friday night, it's going to be damn well sizzling.
Tyrone Asbury. Yeah. I need y'all to listen to me right now as I take you on this journey. Podcast journey. Only the greats can make it to the.
What's up, everybody? It's Friday night, and you know what's going down. Of course, all the top rope returns. My ass is back from vacation, and we got a sizzling episode for you tonight. And of course, TGIF and Wrestling Convention Talk, two great things that come together. I'm going to say this, promoters of 2022, you get the ropes approval, but there's one guy who gets a super damn 9 million% ropes approval. Of course, he brought it to Johnson City, of course, last Saturday. Of course, Binghamton Wrestling Con 2022, my boy, the man, the legend, Joe Davis. Joe.
Ty, what's up, man? That was quite the introduction. I don't think I've ever been called a legend.
But man, you are a legend for what you did, man. And like I said, before we came on the broadcast, man, you did huge things, man, last Saturday, man. And first and foremost, man, I'm going to ask you the first question of all, because I seen it in person, man. Do you finally get some time off, or there's no time off for Joe Davis because he was a busy man?
There is no time off. Right? There's not. I took, let's see, Saturday was nuts. Sunday night, I was back on a meeting for another company. Every night I'm in this office. This is my sanctuary. We got the Team JD. This is Team JD headquarters where I'm at. And there's no rest for the wicked. Double shows tomorrow for Ultimate Wrestling, and we keep grinding, dude. You know, we can sleep when we're dead.
Yeah, and that's exactly right, man. Preach on that, brother. Definitely preach, man. And you know, man, it's like I could tell I first met you, man. We talked on the phone, man. Meeting you in person last Saturday, man. It's like the first important thing is, man, you're a fan. That's we wouldn't be here. We're all fans, man. And like I can tell, man, you just love it, man. And the one thing I want to ask you, man, what about wrestling outside of being a promoter that like you just got to sink your teeth into? Like take let's bring the fan into you first and foremost. But what is about wrestling, Joe, that like you just love, man?
It's the stories, right? I mean, they hook you. Obviously I appreciate the wrestling as I grew older. You know, I've been a fan since I was 7 years old. It's the stories, it's the escape. Right? It's makes you feel good. It's just one of those things where we all, I don't care what your situation is. And so many of us have the same story. We go through something hard in our lives, in childhood or whatever it is. And we find wrestling provided us an escape. Right? Yeah. Now, for a lot of people, that escape ended when they hit their teenage years or whatever. But there's a special few of us. You're one of them. I'm one of them. That it stuck, and we never let it go. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing. The story, the escape. It's just that's what it's all about. That's what theater's all about. That's what rooting for your favorite football team's all about. You know, we just chose wrestling.
Exactly. Now, you know, you're a happily married man, and so am I. And is it a bonus when you have a partner who likes wrestling just like you do, or like, you know, for like, just tell people who had that significant other, like, you know, if the person likes wrestling too, you're in, but they don't, you just got to like, preach a little bit, Joe, about that. Like,
I've been through both. And it's no knock on my ex-wife at all, but she just wasn't a fan. She let me watch it. It's not like I couldn't watch it.
Yeah.
My wife now knew nothing about wrestling. And then I got her into it and I got her kid into it. And then she's a photographer and I let her photograph. And now she is like, she gets more angry at like AEW Dynamite or Monday Night Raw than I do. She's like, that is the stupidest storyline I've ever heard. Like, why would they let him go over? I'm like, you need to calm down. She is like, I love her, but she is passionate about it. Like, she's way more critical than I am anymore. It's nuts. But yes, it makes all the difference in the world. There's letting you do something and there's support. That's two different things. Support is rooting for you to accomplish your goals, whereas letting you do it is like, all right, yeah, fine, do that. Once you annoy me, I'm going to let you know.
Yeah.
And I'm blessed to have that support from Mrs. JD.
Yeah. Mrs. JD, Mrs. JD, like I said, you are a keeper. You like wrestling, and you freaking like snapping more as Joe does. You're a keeper, so hopefully she'll be watching this.
Yeah,
I say
absolutely.
That, so. but I want to ask you first and foremost, Joe, is that everybody, and like I said, the Ropes Media Studio was right. I'm right, not too far from you, but Johnson City, Binghamton, the whole area, like they saw what it's like for you and saw what you did, but worldwide, for people who missed, of course, Binghamton Wrestling Con, what did they miss and why should they bring their booties back to next year? We're going to talk about that later. Next year, man.
It was one of those things where it was a risk, right? And that's, you run a convention in an area for the first time, it's going to be a risk. Binghamton, New York has been a wrestling city for 30 years, yet nobody tried this. We have a great company, local, Excite Wrestling. They run every single month. They were on board with this. So somebody had to try it, right? And I wanted to try Binghamton. It was the, Johnson City, whatever, same area.
Yeah.
It close to me. I wanted to do the first one close to me. And we'll talk about the 2023 a little bit later. Yeah. But we had stars that hadn't been up this way in 30 years, such as Arn Anderson, Tito Santana, Bull James. I don't know if has ever been up in this area. He might have. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I wanted to bring something different. I wanted a different feel to it, and was there hiccups? Of course there is. There's any type of entertainment you try to put on, you're going to have issues. You're going to have hiccups. But what I tell people, success is measured in many ways, and in so many, 95% of our ways, we were successful. And I'm proud of that. And I'm proud I had a great team behind me. I had people such as yourself willing to do whatever, they didn't question me. I said, hey, could you do this? Do this. They did it. People had my back, and, it's actually tomorrow, I think, is my 5-year WrestleVersary. And I've met these, thank you. And I met these people through the year, and it just shows if you treat people the right way over time and you're upfront with people and you're honest in a business, quite frankly, that can be very shady, you get reciprocated. They trust you and they'll do things for you. So yeah, next year we're going to go bigger and better. Obviously, we're not going to slow down. But yeah, and I'm just talking the convention. The show itself was, I'll say it, better than the convention. The show was on fire. That crowd was hot from the first bell to the last bell. And that might be what I'm most proud of.
Man, you look at, like you said, Johnson City, Binghamton, same area, hasn't seen wrestling in years, man. And in wrestling history up this area, you penned your name in history, man. And like I said, I'm probably gonna be clapping for you all show long, man. And congratulations for what you did, man, and for inviting the Ropes to there. And I gotta say this, man. Everybody's liking, like I said, the show. I got some comments I'm going to bring on. You got people saying, people throwing up stuff here, and we got Jeff Thomas Jr.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
Yeah. So, but everybody's definitely showing love to you, man. The one and only Joe Davis here on Off the Top Rope. Now, when you look at you're, like I said, you're a commentator, promoter, all this stuff. Now, when was there a time when you realized, how like your body has that feeling like either you're sweating or something's just telling you by God to do this? What did you have that itch in your skin, like your body saying, Joe, do this convention, man, do it. You've been a promoter, you've done, like, do this.
It was probably, it's funny because almost a year ago, I was talking to the owner of Ultimate Wrestling, Dave McNeil, who I don't know if you got a chance to meet. He was helping me all over the place, so you probably didn't. And him and I were talking about doing a convention. And so we just lots of talk back and forth. And then I believe it was probably, I don't know, May-ish, something like that. I was like, let's just effing do it. Let's just do it. And he's like, all right, you want to take the reins? I'm like, yep. And that's the worst thing anybody can do to me. Because if you say, JD, take control, I will take control. Because that's just me. That's who I am. And so I did. Now, in retrospect, I wish I had more time. We started planning really in June for a convention and show in October. And what I learned so much. It's really a big project. It takes a long time to just knock it out of the park. And we did well, don't get me wrong. But, I probably did it a little too quickly, but we pulled it off, right? We did it. Yeah. And we had a great time with it. So I end of May, beginning of June, we put the timetable there. I was talking to the venue and they were like, well, we could do November. You saw where the location was. If we had a freak snowstorm or something like that, would have been bad. So I didn't want to risk it. So we moved the timetable up. I was like, let's roll the dice. Let's try it one time. And then we'll know what to do better next.
Dude, you said a good thing about promoting. And like I said, you being doing this for so many years, it's all about the month, because in this area, I know like the snow can get really crazy. And I'm glad you picked October, because October up here can be cold. But I remember it was actually a nice day. Me and my wife made the trip down there. I was like, it's nice out. And
it was.
Man, we got lucky. That was a smart thing on your part for balancing it up, to October.
Yeah, you got to think about things like that, because at the end of the day, if the fans don't show up, you don't have a show. You don't have revenue. You have nothing, and then you got big superstars just sitting there with nobody in front of them. And a snowstorm can do that in the Northeast, no doubt. But, I'm excited because I think a lot of people and nobody, I didn't have a lot of critics. I don't want to make this sound like it was JD against the world, because it wasn't. Yeah. People supported me, right? I sat with the other local promoters before I even put anything out there. We had a meeting. I said, Ty, wrestling. Yeah. You can step on toes real easy if you're not careful. And I sat with them and I said, listen, I want to do this thing. Are you on board? And they were. So I was blessed about that. And I made sure that all the local talent, whether you were with company X, Y, or Z, were featured. We had talent, I think, from 5 or 6 different states that came in, from obviously New York, Pennsylvania, Jersey, Delaware. We had a couple from Ohio. I think there's someone from Indiana. We had people coming from, and then you got the big names who are obviously flying in from, US and Canada. And it all came together. At the end of the day, I believe we had 7 different promotions involved in this project. And I think, as far as I know, as far as the New York and PA wrestling scene, that's the first event where all those promotions came together and worked together. And it flowed, it flowed, and everybody got along, and it was a fun day, memorable day, no doubt.
Well, everybody watching Off the Top Rope, of course, Friday night, we're all about support. And like I said, of course, we all support pro wrestling. I'm glad you're supporting this episode. Support my live guest, because he's doing big things in wrestling. Like I said, JD, Joe Davis, live on the ropes. You want to ask him a comment, leave it up in the box. I'll read it on the air, because like I said, this guy's doing big things. He don't stop. That's his JD style. He doesn't stop. Now, of course, Joe, people see that you're a good guy. They want to help you, and you need people who are influential in your life, and that can help you with a big project. That's what you did last Saturday. Who was people that were very, influential who helped you, like saying, maybe Joe, try this or don't do this, or like were people like giving you ideas, but not like you said, stepping on toes, but just maybe just throwing that out there to you.
I mean, and I feel I'll list some names. And if I forget somebody, I'm going to feel awful. Like I said, I had a lot of support. Number one, Keith Zimmer. He is, the head of Rope to Rope. Jim Holbert, those two guys I've worked with for years. Zimmer was the one that broke me into the business. Dave Keller, another guy that was video backstage. He did. I don't know if you saw the fan access stuff, but that was him. Jeff Thomas, as much as him and I dog each other, he was my right-hand man through this whole thing. Tony Toxic, he's an ugly dude, but he helped out. Johnny Moose from Excite, not just the day of, but before that, him and I had sit downs, and he's been promoting for a long time, and he just helped me out wherever he could. Dave McNeil, big time he's the owner of Ultimate Wrestling and Extreme Wrestling Force up Rochester area. Jason Stone, New York Championship Wrestling, was a huge support, helped out with Julia Hart. I could probably spend an hour going through it, but I'm telling you, man, like it wasn't one of those things where I felt alone. They all picked up slack. Paul Bowe from PPW is another guy. I said, Paul, just run commentary, run production. He did it. I have to do a thing with that. Sean Kramars, the video guy. There's so many. I'm sure I forgot people. Please don't be offended if I forgot you. But so many people say HC Loke. Sorry, last one. HC Loke.
Nope.
ECW legend. He's been kind of my therapist the whole time. Throughout this whole journey, I'm like, oh, what do I do here? This man was on ECW, WWF. He's been around. Yeah. Last person, my wife. Yeah, there's nobody had my back like my wife.
Absolutely. And, when, like I said, I saw it firsthand. I was there in the venue. Me and my wife saw how he was running around and everything. And I thought to myself, this guy is hungry. I'm here for him. I want to see him succeed because, like I said, man, it's just like you want to see good people succeed, and as yourself, man. And I saw that firsthand, and I'm just clapping all episode, man. I'm just proud of you, man, what you did, man.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to the future as well. And we actually got another comment I want to pull up too, man. Like I said, man, boom. Everybody's saying, great job.
Rob Cook. That's my Ty. That's my wrestling grandpa.
Yeah.
That's what I call him. I call my wrestling grandpa. So my wrestling dad in wrestling, if you guys don't know, when you're in the business, you usually have a wrestling dad, and that's the guy that mentors you and helps you out. For mine, it's Rotmare, Chad Jackson. But Rob Cook was one of the first ones that helped me out, and then I gravitated elsewhere. So we call Rob Cook my wrestling grandpa. And he's old as hell, but he was still in the ring. He was the referee for the main event on Saturday. The old man doesn't know when to quit.
Hey, he's like you, man. He loves it. He's like, I don't care how old I am. I could come in with a cane. I'm still refereeing this shit. I don't care.
Well, now it's crazy, bro. I've only been around 5. Now I have a wrestling son or 2. And I'm like, what is going on? This is crazy.
You could be my wrestling uncle,
Yeah, uncle. I like that better. Don't make me feel older than I need to be.
Now, Joe, I'm gonna roll a clip for you, of course, and people who want to do this, Joe will give some great advice. I'm gonna roll this clip for Joe. So the clip is, of course, listen to Joe. First thing you would tell someone who wants to run a wrestling convention, because Joe's gonna break it down. It ain't easy. What would you tell somebody?
Make sure you got time.
Yeah.
Make sure you got time. Make sure you got money. All right. The biggest thing it's the logistics. Honestly, it really is. People, when they want to run a wrestling show, they think about the matches. They don't think about the little things about, okay, are we doing a 50-50? Are we doing prizes? Are we raising money for charity? How's the seating going to look? What time should we set up? Do we have staff to run the doors? What's concessions going to look like? If you're really going to undertake a convention, it's not about the wrestling show necessarily and the names you're bringing in. It's the logistical things you have to hammer down. People can say what they want about Saturday. Not that anybody's saying anything bad, but it ran smooth because I had the processes in place. I'm a process guy. I worked in sales and marketing for 20 years.
That helps, yeah.
I know how to market. I know how to do processes. So it flowed very well. In fact, that was almost, people in the business at least, one of the best compliments I got from guys who have been doing this for 15, 20 years is how well it flowed.
Yeah.
You know, it's always going to be chaotic, right? And mistakes will happen. However, as far as what we had planned and the processes we had in place, you got to get that down. That's number one.
So number one is definitely, like I said, people watch this episode who wants to run a wrestling convention, JD 101. So it will be get your venue down first. We'll have money, of course. You need the dollar, but get the venue.
Yeah.
But Joe, like you said, so many things. Venue, the date, who's gonna work concessions, security,
venue date, headliner.
Yeah.
And then you do the processes. And then you think about all those little things, ticket prices. It's all that stuff.
Man, like I said, man, it's just God bless you, man. Like I'm like, for me, I'm keeping my ass behind the microphone, you know, podcast style. And like I said, I'll leave it to Uncle JD to do his thing. So, but
Uncle JD, I like that. It's stuck. All right, we're good.
Now, when you look at like wrestling territories, I mean, for us it'd be, you know, Binghamton, John City, all the same thing. When you, of course, started getting, you know, Binghamton Wrestling Con together, as far as promoting in this area, what were some things that like you looked at, like when you were like, oh, I think this may work for this area, so I'm gonna try this as far as advertising, because areas can be different in how you promote your product. So what about this area that really like was like, I'm gonna try this because I see that it's working?
They're, like I said before, they're used to wrestling. We know Excite every month runs a show, and they get 200 to 400 to 500 fans.
Thank you, Brittany, for the comment. Brittany, yeah, rocking. somebody said a comment for you. So
my video will come back in a second. I had a call I had to hang up on.
Look at that.
So we know wrestling is popular in this area. That's first and foremost, right? Now you worry about oversaturation. And I think we might have faced some of that, which is fine. What I did, I hired a marketing team, a buddy I know, Stephen Donnelly and Associates. Big shout out. They helped me a ton. And this is a me thing. I'm not saying this is essential for anybody running a show or convention or whatever. I linked a lot of things up with Special Olympics, as you well know. I knew that would hit in this area because this area is also big on Special Olympics. You know, so one thing we were able to do is bring 17, 20 Special Olympians and their families and staff into the convention and show 100% free. They got free autographs and stuff like that. We did the radio ads. We did the on-location radio. We did the media press releases beforehand. You know, I looked at Binghamton and I'm like, well, we know they like wrestling. Will they like a convention? And overall, the fan reaction I got was great. Everybody's like, I can't wait till next year. I can't wait. So we'll see what happens. You know, now you let me know when you want to talk about next year. We'll talk about next year. But Binghamton was a great place to start. I'm like, let's do it in my hometown first.
Yeah.
You know, let's see how it catches. And everybody had a blast.
Yeah. Including me, man. It was definitely, like I said, a good time, man. Just to see, first and foremost, see you, how excited you were doing your thing, all the wrestling stars you brought in, man. And definitely, like I said, talking about next year, we'll definitely get to that in a little bit. Now, I'm sure one thing, you know, as far as running any kind of wrestling event, because wrestling fans see everything as far as like a wrestling poster. You'd be like, oh, that's cool. I got to try this out. So I was curious. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to roll this clip for you. When you draw us a picture, did you have any other ideas for the BWC, of course, 2022 poster as far as design, like the design that you did this year? Did you have any kind of like different plans, maybe color scheme or like how you wanted the wrestlers in place? Like, because that's detail like that helps too.
This is where, remember when I said I got a good team?
Yeah.
So this is the second time I'm going to pick on him because he's dumb. But Jeff Thomas Jr., he's my graphic guy. I say, Jeff, this is what I want. And he literally gives me gold like that. I don't have to give him a lot of detail. I might say, hey, I like this, I like that, whatever. But Jeff kills it in the graphic business when it comes to wrestling. Graphics are something I don't have to worry about because I know Jeff has my back. He's damn good at what he does. Now, initially, we had a whole different concept, which it was going to first just be called WrestleCon. Okay. And he made a really cool graphic. It looked like the old WrestleMania graphic. Nice. And then I got a cease and desist because somebody apparently owns the name WrestleCon. So I put the wrestling on it and got rid of them. So we redid the whole design. So I can't take much credit for that as far as color scheme and all that goes. I got to give props 100% to Jeff Thomas. He's got my back. He knows me. Like, Jeff is one of the first guys I met in this business 5 years ago. Him and I are great friends. He's over at my house all the time. And I trust him with that, and it's one, like, because I'm not, believe it or not, I'm a creative guy when it comes to booking shows and character work. I'm a manager, I'm a commentator, I'm a promoter. That's fine. I have no artistic ability at all. So I just let Jeff, I give him the reins and he always takes care of me.
Jeff, my man, like I said.
And that's Deadeye Graphics, everybody. Deadeye Graphics. He does way more than wrestling too.
Jeff, my man, you are the man. Now, of course, Joe, this is your first time being on the show. I got to try to stump you with this. So are you ready for the next segment? Because I got to try to stump you on this.
Do it.
All right, here we go. Let's roll with it.
Damn, Ty. That's good.
All right, the question is, all right, okay, we know you can get creative, so we're going to throw this at you, Joe. You book a gimmick match in Johnson City, New York. The question is, what type of match would it be with the Johnson City, New York twist?
Oh, man. Well, I was going to be mean. I won't do that. God, a carousel match.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to tell you why. Did you know Binghamton, New York, Johnson City, whatever, is the carousel capital of the world?
I did not know that.
Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to get two guys. No, we'll make it a four-way. They're going to be trapped inside the carousel. And the first one to escape the carousel cage wins.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
You aced that, man. That was, yeah.
Just saying.
Definitely. And like I said, I know you would put that together if it happened. I would be there front row.
Actually, I really like that. I never thought of that. I think I might do that now.
Like I said, hey man, definitely. If you really give the thumbs up for that, I'll be there definitely to check it out. Now, Joe, from the time this episode is aired live, we've been talking about it. So I want you, of course, to slam and promote because, dude, you are so busy. Anniversaries, getting ready for next year, man. You're a commentator, manager. So, of course, Joe, slam and promote because what's up next for you? And talk about WrestleCon 2023. But don't drop too much on us. But what's up next for the great Joe Davis?
I'm not going to drop too much. So obviously we're booked up. Tomorrow is Ultimate Wrestling and Extreme Wrestling Force. That's Webster, New York, double shows. That's going to be a fun time. Obviously we got PPW coming up. That's as far as me as commentating and managing. WrestlingCon 2023 is going to be exciting. It's going to be October 7th of 23. That we're going to run in a different area. All right. We're going to try out the Chemung County area next year. Nice. We're actually accepting some venue bids now. We already got a couple. And then Team JD Promotions, I don't want to give away too much, but I will say we're going to be heavily involved in several companies as far as talent and ownership in New York and Pennsylvania. We're making business deals left and right. My whole goal for this years ago when I started it, I was a manager and I made a faction. It is now a business. My goal is to be the first wrestling faction business that actually does business. We're taking over companies, literally acquiring them. So I can't give too much away on that, but just know you're going to see some really exciting things. And we got a bunch of merch. We're getting that all uploaded now on our Shopify, Team JD Shopify. And it's going to be a hell of a 2023, man. Let me tell you.
Man, I just got goosebumps, man. Like I said, man, my boy Uncle JD laying it down. And man, like I said, of course, you got your website, of course, I'm with Davis.com. People can go in there and check you out, what you're doing and everything too, man. I like that website name too, by the way. I definitely.
Yeah, it's funny. That was a website I actually had when I was still in the marketing biz, and I was a marketing consultant. And I was like, yeah, be with me, no one else. Still the same way. So I was like, why not? So we just switched it all around, and here we are, www.imwithdavis.com. I'm also all over Facebook. Myself personally, if you send me a friend request, I probably won't accept it. But Team JD LLC, you got the Binghamton Wrestling Con Facebook page. I'm on Instagram, Joe Davis 2484, Twitter, Joe Davis 24. Find me on there. So we're not hard to find.
Definitely. Joe, this Friday night, man, for me has been awesome, man. Like I said, talking to one of the best in the business, and still you got more to do, man. Like I said, the one and only Joe Davis. And the most important question I'm going to ask you to, of course, end this awesome episode of Off the Top Rope from 1 to 10. Would you ever come back on Off the Top Rope again?
How about 110? Absolutely. Are you kidding me? Anytime, man. Anytime. 1,000%.
I really appreciate it, man. And, I want to do this for you, man, because when we end the show, I want to roll, of course, a promo video of course, last Saturday's, of course, Binghamton Wrestling Con, because people next year, you're going to see what you missed. So me and Joe, we're going to get out of here. And as I always say, man, give this guy, Joe Davis, a round of applause. Joe, you are the man.
Thank you,
like
sir.
I said, man, keep trucking, man. And, hey, man, keep going to the wheels fall off, my brother.
I appreciate that. Thanks so much for having me. I super appreciate it. Can't wait till we do it again.
My pleasure. I'm your boy, Ty Asbury. Watch this clip, of course, of last Saturday's Wrestling Con.
Wrestling Con, hosted by Team JD. Featuring Tommy Dreamer, HC Loke, Nunzio, Just Incredible, Black G's, Julia Hart, Dirty Dango, Brian Pillman Jr., Brock Anderson, Arn Anderson, and Tito Santana. Saturday, October 15th at the Bulldog Sports Complex. Get your convention tickets now, along with ringside seating for an experience of a lifetime. Become a part of pro wrestling history at Wrestling Con.
The Ropes Media. Tyrod Asbury. Yeah. Tyrod Asbury.